There was a time when we believed we held everything in our grasp. Science, with its remarkable advancements, seemed to have bestowed upon humanity the ability to conquer all dangers, especially infectious diseases. We prided ourselves on great medical achievements, from eradicating smallpox and controlling polio, to developing vaccines for countless diseases that once sowed terror. We believed that with modern technology and a deep understanding of microorganisms, no pathogen could seriously threaten our brilliant civilization, and that any threat would be quickly detected, contained, and extinguished. An absolute sense of security enveloped us, leading us to mistakenly believe we had completely mastered our fate against the challenges of nature. Then, towards the end of 2019, in a small corner of the world, an invisible enemy quietly emerged. It was not ostentatious, not loud. It simply crept silently, moving from person to person, from city to city, crossing all geographical and political borders with incredible ease. A new virus, later known as SARS-CoV-2, initially appeared as distant, faint news on international reports, seemingly unrelated to our daily lives. But then, in just a few weeks, a few months, it rapidly transformed into a tangible nightmare, surpassing all predictions, all the worst-case scenarios we had ever imagined. Its speed of transmission challenged every epidemiological model, leaving health experts stunned. The world watched in shock as, in March 2020, the World Health Organization, WHO, officially declared COVID-19 a global pandemic. From that moment, the lives of billions across the planet changed in the blink of an eye, in a way unprecedented in modern history. Once bustling and vibrant streets became eerily silent. Grand shopping malls closed quietly, busy airports were now empty, and international and domestic flights ground to a halt. Strict lockdowns were imposed everywhere, from the largest megacities to the most remote villages, forcing us to stay indoors, looking out at the world through windows with a vague anxiety and a sense of helplessness seeping into every corner of our souls. Hospitals, once fortresses of life, places of healing and hope, suddenly transformed into battlefields. The incessant blare of ambulance sirens echoed through every street, becoming the haunting soundtrack of the era. Hospital corridors were packed with patients, beds spilling into the walkways, and the tired, exhausted eyes of medical staff. They were the frontline warriors, facing the invisible enemy day and night, working tirelessly under unprecedented harsh conditions. Encapsulating protective suits made them breathless and dehydrated. Shifts stretched endlessly, constantly pushing past physical and mental limits. Above all, there was the constant fear of infection for themselves and their families, of witnessing too much loss, the passing of lives they had tried their utmost to save. The pandemic claimed the lives of millions worldwide, irrespective of age, social status, or nationality. It not only took lives, but also robbed people of the right to say goodbye, the right to be with loved ones in their final moments. Many passed away in solitude, on cold hospital beds, without a final word, without a hand to hold, without a last farewell from their families. The images of family members standing afar, gazing helplessly at hospitals, unable to touch or comfort their loved ones, or have hurried. Funerals unattended and unable to be held with dignity became an indelible, haunting memory for an entire generation. Each statistic of a death was not just a number, but a story, a life brutally cut short. The onset of the COVID-19 pandemic was not merely the appearance of a new virus. It was the collapse of a firm belief in humanity's absolute control, a painful awakening to the fragility of life, and a Reminder that no matter how advanced science becomes, nature always holds unforeseen surprises, powers that we must learn to respect and confront. The world was thrust into an unprecedented trial, a grueling battle whose end no one could foresee. And this was only the opening chapter of a tragic yet resilient story about the human spirit as capacity for recovery and strength. From the battlegrounds of hospitals, pain and loss quickly spread throughout society, profoundly transforming every aspect of life. The COVID-19 pandemic was not merely a health crisis. It was an unprecedented socio-economic catastrophe, plunging billions into a maelstrom of insecurity and change. Millions of businesses, large and small, worldwide were forced to close, causing hundreds of millions of workers to lose their jobs in an instant. Once bustling streets fell silent, and once vibrant factories lay dormant. Global supply chains fractured, leading to shortages of essential goods, driving up prices and disrupting all market dynamics. The world economy reeled, teetering on the brink of its deepest recession in decades. But the pain did not stop at economic figures. It seeped into every family, every corner of life. Children, the budding future, were confined within four walls, schools closed, friends kept distant. Their right to learn, play, and develop socially was severely impacted, leaving psychological scars that might take years to heal. The elderly, the spiritual pillars of families, became more isolated and vulnerable than ever. They not only faced the highest risk of infection but also endured social isolation, lacking warm embraces and visits from their children and grandchildren. Fear and anxiety became an indispensable part of our daily lives, transforming every interaction, every touch, into a potentially risky act. However, amidst the bleak landscape of disaster, a powerful and warm light emerged: human compassion and solidarity. When healthcare systems were overwhelmed, when governments were bewildered by unprecedented challenges, it was the communities themselves that stepped up. Millions of volunteers unhesitatingly ventured into the most dangerous places to support doctors and nurses, distribute food and essential supplies to those in need, or simply offer a word of encouragement, a smile to those in despair. Free meals, patient transport, phone calls checking in, rapidly established charities, all painted a moving picture of the strength of human kindness. We witnessed strangers helping each other as if they were family, neighbors sharing every packet of instant noodles, every pill. The spirit of mutual aid, where a small act of kindness in times of desperate need is worth more than great abundance, was stronger than ever, reminding us that even in the darkest times, goodness always exists and has the power to spread, healing the deepest wounds. Simultaneously, an unprecedented race in scientific history unfolded. Scientists worldwide, regardless of nationality or race, joined forces day and night, working tirelessly to find a weapon against this invisible enemy. They overcame all barriers of time, resources, and the inherently slow and complex research processes. And then the miraculous happened. In a record short time, less than a year since the virus appeared, the first vaccines were announced, carrying the hope of revival for all humanity. This was not just a scientific achievement, but also a testament to human intellect, perseverance, and the fierce will to live. The first injections were not merely a dose of medicine, but a symbol of hope, a door opening to the future, promising a tomorrow where we could return to normal life, embrace loved ones, and freely travel and explore the world. Vaccines saved millions of lives, eased the burden on healthcare systems, and gradually pushed back the specter of the pandemic. But even as the light at the end of the tunnel appeared, we understood that the world would never be the same. The pandemic left immeasurable scars, irreparable losses, but also etched invaluable lessons into our minds. This was not just a story of illness and death, but also a story of adaptation, resilience, and the core human values that were most clearly revealed in times of trial. We had collectively endured a challenging journey, and now, each of us carries memories and experiences that will shape the future. Indeed, the post-pandemic world was no longer the world we once knew. It bore invisible yet profound scars, reshaping how we perceive life, work, and relationships. Online meetings, remote work, and the habit of wearing masks became part of the new normal. We learned to adapt, to slow down, and sometimes to cherish the quiet moments within our own homes. But above all, the pandemic exposed the fragility of life and the undeniable interconnectedness of all of us on this planet. A tiny, invisible virus showed us that no nation, no individual could truly be safe if the rest of the world was in peril. The losses caused by the pandemic were immeasurable. Not just the lives that were forever lost, but also the smiles hidden behind masks, the missed embraces, the tears shed in solitude. There were families who lost loved ones without a final farewell, without the chance to hold hands, to share those last moments. That pain, that emptiness, would forever be an indelible part of the memories of those who remained. Children missed crucial school years. The elderly lived in isolation, deprived of affection and care. The global economy reeled. Millions lost their jobs. Countless businesses went bankrupt. Supply chains broke down, causing far-reaching consequences for every aspect of life. Economic wounds might gradually heal, but the psychological scars, the haunting memories of separation, of fear, would likely linger with us for a very long time. Yet, it was precisely in the harshest trials that the most valuable lessons were forged. We learned that science is not an omnipotent miracle, but it is a beacon illuminating the path out of darkness. International cooperation, the sharing of knowledge and resources, became the key to overcoming the crisis. We also recognize the importance of robust public health systems and of frontline medical staff, the silent heroes who sacrificed themselves for public health. The pandemic reminded us of the value of preparedness, of investing in research and development, so as never to be caught off guard by similar threats in the future. Most importantly, the pandemic highlighted the power of compassion and human kindness. In the hardest days when everything seemed to crumble, it was the small acts of kindness, of sharing, that ignited the flame of hope. From free meals for the needy, volunteer vehicles transporting essential goods, to heartfelt words of encouragement sent to each other via phone screens, all created a robust support network, helping us navigate the darkest moments. We saw neighbors helping each other, communities uniting to protect the most vulnerable. It was a vivid testament that no matter how modern the world becomes, no matter how advanced technology gets, human connection will always remain the core value, the most solid foundation for the existence and development of society. The COVID-19 pandemic was a catastrophe. No one could deny that. But it was also a powerful reminder, a global wake-up call. The memory of the pandemic is not for us to dwell forever in sadness or fear, but for us never to forget what happened. It reminds us to cherish every moment of life, to value health, to appreciate our loved ones beside us. It urges us to think more seriously about the relationship between humanity and nature, about sustainable development, and about the responsibility of each individual towards the community and this planet. We learned that life is a journey of continuous learning and adaptation. Even when it seemed impossible to overcome, with resilience, wisdom, and love, humanity always finds a way to rise again. The pandemic changed us, making us stronger, more profound. It is a scar, but also a symbol of rebirth, of the ability to overcome all adversity. And as we step into the future, with these lessons deeply ingrained, we'll never forget those days. The COVID-19 pandemic was not just a dark chapter in human history. It was a landmark, a scar etched deep into the soul of every person, reminding us of life's fragility and the hidden strength of the human spirit. The world we stepped into after the pandemic was no longer the world we once knew. It had changed profoundly and comprehensively, leaving behind immeasurable losses and lessons that must never be forgotten. Beyond claiming lives and denying the right to say goodbye, COVID-19 also triggered an unprecedented socio-economic crisis unseen in decades. Millions, even tens of millions, of people worldwide lost their jobs in an instant as businesses shuttered and global supply chains fractured. From factory workers and office staff to small shop owners and performing artists, all faced an uncertain future, unsure of what tomorrow would bring. Once bustling cities fell silent, vibrant shopping centers lay desolate, and the laughter of children on school playgrounds was replaced by an eerie quiet. The pandemic's impact wasn't limited to the economy. It permeated every corner of social life, profoundly affecting the most vulnerable groups. Children, the sprouts of the future, had to endure the most crucial years of their development in online learning environments, lacking essential social interaction and, at times, psychological support. Many witnessed loved ones fall ill, suffer loss, or bear the family's economic burden. The elderly, pillars of families and repositories of societal knowledge, endured even greater isolation and danger, being the most susceptible to the virus. Many passed away in solitude, without loved ones by their side to hold their hand or say a final farewell. These are unhealable pains, emotional wounds that will continue to smolder. Yet, amidst the bleak landscape of disaster, a powerful and resilient ray of light emerged. It was the light of science, of intellect, and of humanity's tireless dedication. As the entire world plunged into despair, as hospitals became overwhelmed and fear enveloped everything, scientists across the planet raced against time, with a single objective: to find a solution to save humanity. They worked day and night, undeterred by fatigue, constantly experimenting, facing countless challenges and failures. The race to develop vaccines was a marvel of modern science. In record time, unprecedented in medical history, a series of effective vaccines emerged. This was not merely the result of advanced technology, but also a testament to global cooperation, to a spirit of solidarity that transcended all political and geographical barriers. Scientists from different nations, different laboratories, shared data, experience, and resources, all for a common purpose. The advent of vaccines brought immense hope. They were not just a medicine to protect the body from the virus, but also a balm for the soul, igniting belief in a brighter future. Millions, billions of vaccine doses were produced and distributed, saving countless lives, alleviating the burden on healthcare systems, and gradually opening the door to global recovery. Locked doors slowly reopened, silent streets began to echo with footsteps once more, and smiles reappeared on faces previously etched with worry. However, the path to recovery was far from easy. The pandemic left behind complex legacies, from deep psychological scars to permanent changes in how we live, work, and interact. The post-COVID-19 world was no longer the same. We realized that global interconnectedness brings both benefits and risks, and that preparedness for public health threats is paramount. We learned to work remotely, to maintain connections in isolation, and most importantly, to cherish every moment spent with loved ones. The COVID-19 pandemic, though a terrifying catastrophe, was also a powerful catalyst, forcing us to re-examine ourselves, our society, and the planet we inhabit. It is a reminder that no matter how advanced technology becomes, humanity will always face unforeseen challenges from nature. But it also proved that with a spirit of unity, resilient will, and the power of science, we can overcome any adversity. The memory of the pandemic is not for us to fear, but for us to learn, to grow, and for us never to forget what we have endured, never to stop cherishing life, and always to be ready to face any future challenges. The post-COVID-19 world is no longer the same. This is not merely an empty phrase, but a reality evident in every corner of life. From personal hygiene rules, the way we work, study, and communicate, to how we perceive public health and even ourselves, everything has profoundly changed. The scars left by the pandemic are not just statistics of fatalities or immense economic damage, but also invisible wounds deeply etched into the souls of billions. The persistent fear of illness, the anxiety about an uncertain future, the inconsolable grief of loss, and the prolonged feeling of isolation have become a shared human experience, reshaping how we interact with the world. We witnessed families shattered, loved ones departing without a final farewell, without a last hand to hold. Children growing up in a world of masks and social distancing will likely carry different, less innocent memories of childhood. The elderly, the most vulnerable, faced extreme solitude, unable to meet their children and grandchildren, deprived of the warmth of family comfort. The pandemic stole not only lives, but also precious moments, canceled significant events, unfinished dream journeys, and a part of youth, development opportunities for countless generations. This loss is truly difficult to quantify by any material measure. It is an immense void in the heart of every individual. Yet, it was amidst these profound losses and extreme sorrows that we recognized invaluable lessons which, perhaps, humanity would not have fully grasped without COVID-19. The first lesson is about the surprising fragility of life and the vulnerability of humanity before nature's boundless, sometimes cruel, power. No matter how advanced science and technology become, we can still be subdued by an invisible virus, reminding us of our humble place in the universe. The second lesson is about the world's inseparable interconnectedness. A health event in one small corner of the planet can quickly escalate into a global catastrophe, clearly demonstrating that we are a single community where no one can stand apart, and the responsibility of each individual affects everyone. And then, the lesson about the extraordinary power of compassion, solidarity, and human resilience. Amidst the greatest chaos and despair, we witnessed countless acts of kindness, hands reaching out to help, hearts sharing unconditionally. From self-sacrificing doctors and nurses on the front lines, scientists working tirelessly against time, to silent volunteers delivering food, and neighbors helping one another, all created a robust support network, shouldering the burden when systems were overwhelmed. We learned to adapt quickly, to overcome fear, and to find hope and the strength of unity even in the darkest days of modern history. The pandemic forced us to seriously re-evaluate our priorities, to invest more robustly in public health systems, in advanced scientific research, and in comprehensive preparedness strategies for future threats. It served as a powerful warning that preparation is never excessive, that global cooperation is not merely an option but an imperative requirement to address global challenges from epidemics to climate change. We paid an exorbitant price with millions of lives and countless other losses to gain these lessons, and we must not forget them for even a second. The memory of the COVID-19 pandemic is not for us to forever wallow in fear or endless regret. Rather, it is to remind us of the true value of life, the importance of physical and mental health, and the profound meaning of love, family bonds, and community. It is an urging for us to live more responsibly towards ourselves, towards others, and towards this planet. To cherish every present moment and to build a more resilient, more equitable, more humane future, where each individual recognizes their role in humanity's grand tapestry. We have traversed a stormy path, and now, with these hard-won lessons, we stand at the threshold of a new era, an era where humanity not only learns to survive, but also learns to regenerate, to rise from the ashes, and to build a more resilient, more hopeful future. Thanks to the extraordinary intellect and tireless dedication of thousands of scientists and medical experts worldwide, life-saving vaccines were developed at an unprecedented speed in human history. This was not merely a scientific achievement, but a symbol of global cooperation and an unwavering will to protect life. They were not just injections, but rays of light, doors opening to hope for recovery, pushing back the thick darkness of the pandemic, bringing new breath to an exhausted world. We witnessed the extraordinary power of science when driven by humanity's most urgent needs and the lesson of continuous investment in medical research and development, as well as the readiness to share knowledge, has been deeply imprinted in our minds. The world after the COVID-19 pandemic is no longer the same. Immeasurable losses and pains are still etched deep in the memories of millions of families, creating invisible, hard-to-heal scars. Many departed in solitude without a farewell, leaving unfillable voids in the hearts of those left behind. The global economy experienced a massive shock with severe supply chain disruptions, millions losing their jobs, and social damages, especially for children and the elderly, still persisting, requiring decades to heal. We bear invisible scars, hard-won lessons that we must not forget, for they shape who we are today and who we'll be in the future. But in the depths of the tragedy, we also found and celebrated humanity's most beautiful core values. These include the incredible human resilience and the boundless compassion and sharing that spread to every corner. We learned that no matter how advanced technology becomes, no matter how modern life gets, human connection, love, empathy, and mutual support are the most solid foundation to overcome all difficulties. Small acts of kindness, sincere words of encouragement, and the silent sacrifices of countless individuals created a magnificent picture of solidarity, of community strength when facing seemingly insurmountable adversity. The COVID-19 pandemic was a global catastrophe, a historical event that completely changed how we perceive life, health, and the future of humanity. Its memory is not for us to forever wallow in fear or endless regret, but to remind us daily of the true value of life. Let us cherish every present moment, every breath, every family meal, every tight hug, every radiant smile of loved ones. Let us be grateful for loved ones, friends, and colleagues who weathered the storm with us and take time to express that love. It is an urging for us to live more responsibly, not just towards ourselves, but also towards the community, the environment, this planet, and future generations. We must invest more robustly in preventive healthcare, in education, and in building a more equitable and sustainable society where every individual has the opportunity to thrive. We must learn to listen to science, learn to trust global cooperation, and learn to act decisively and unitedly against humanity's common challenges, from epidemics to climate change. The pandemic has passed, but the lessons it left behind will endure, serving as a compass for the journey ahead. We have traversed a stormy path, and now, with these hard-won lessons, we stand at the threshold of a new era. An era where humanity not only learns to survive, but also learns to live a full, meaningful, and more resilient life than ever before, appreciating every small value of existence. Let us transform losses into motivation, pain into strength, to build a better, safer, more humane world, where each of us is part of the solution, a beacon of hope for the future. Because, after all, it is life itself, resilience, compassion, and the spirit of human solidarity that are the most eternal, the inexhaustible source of strength for us to continue moving forward.